Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the second upload of today, as I have been sick and didn't upload yesterday, so I figured I would do a favor to you all since you are all so supportive and kind to me. I wanted to bring forth a second podcast for you today. It is entitled, Get Ready for It to Hit the Fan. Timeline of events show why the deep state, the media, and Democrats are melting down publicly. We are watching this take place in real time. Let's not get it twisted. They are panicking, and it is very obvious, my friends. But before we get into today's podcast, would you please welcome my sponsor, Noble Gold. Hey guys, Thomas from True Reporting here. Did you know that gold is up 18%? That's right. It's been like that since the month of June, and we all know why. It's because Trump is relentless against the Federal Reserve. We know that our money is not worth anything unless it's backed by gold. So why not back your 401k or IRA with gold and go to Noble Gold and tell them Thomas sent you from True Reporting. You call this number 1-877-646-5347 and tell them Thomas sent you, and it'll be worth your while. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the podcast. All right, guys, it's good to have you aboard. Before we get into today's podcast, would you please go ahead and subscribe to True Reporting 2.0. Also, would you please go ahead and click the notification bell so when I post to this channel, you'll be the first to know. And finally, would you please go ahead and click the like button? The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So again, get ready for it, my friends. It's about to hit the fan. The timeline of events show why the deep state, the media, and the Democrats are melting down publicly. Many times we at ANP have warned that if we thought liberals went crazy after the election of President Trump, then became downright unhinged during the confirmation hearing for Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, just to go into a free fall of depression when special counsel Robert Mueller could not establish any collusion with Russia on the part of the Trump campaign of 2016. We have seen nothing that will compare to the outright insanity we will observe by crazed liberals should President Trump win the re-election. While that prospect is yet more than a year away, watching the events over the past months, we have stepped back and looked at the entirety and timing of said events. A picture emerges that tells us we may see that insanity long before the 2020 election even gets here. By now, someone would have to have been living under a rock to be unaware that the House Democrats are pursuing an impeachment inquiry, meaning an investigation into whether they think they can vote on articles of impeachment. It is also common knowledge that the Senate, controlled by Republicans, would have to have 2/3 agree and convict in order to remove President Trump, and they do not have those numbers. In other words, this is all for show. A calculated decision in an attempt to continue keeping a cloud over President Trump's head because they fear he will indeed be reelected in 2020. Why now? Over a year before the actual presidential election? Well, it all comes down to timing, and events that are beyond their control has them in panic mode. Specifically, the upcoming DOJ Inspector General report on possible FISA abuses, which word has it will be released within the next 2 weeks, with some saying it could drop as early as this Friday, and the Barr and Durham investigation into the origins of the Russia probe. Timeline of events which had the media and Democrats panicking. The timeline below is all public knowledge, and links are provided to each event as it happened, which show that after the Mueller investigation ended and the investigation into the investigators began, Democrats, the establishment media, I know, same thing, and the former intelligence officials from the Obama era, along with the deep state holdovers, all realized that the truth, which they all knew but denied, was going to become public. Those deep state holdovers were described recently by Stephen Miller, a senior advisor to President Trump, in an interview with Breitbart. The deep state is a collection of permanent bureaucrats enmeshed inside the federal government who can't be fired or removed, at least historically, have not been able to be. because of misguided civil service laws. They believe they know better than you and your listeners and the voters how the country ought to be ran. At this moment in time, the deep state has a knife aimed at the heart of the American democracy, and that's what you're seeing playing across your TV screens and newspaper pages and online. With these so-called whistleblowers, who are, of course, in fact, angry, hate-filled, rage-driven bureaucrats determined to take down the President of the United States and illicitly and improperly using the Whistleblower Protection Act in order to effectuate their designs. I use Miller's description as it clearly explains why many of the former intelligence community members have been fired, but others not have been cleaned out just of yet. Firing a career employee can sometimes take over 2 years, even those convicted of a felony as reported at the Federalists. The timelines below show what has them all scared, that the House Democrats are willing to commit political suicide to distract from what is actually coming. On April 10, 2019, Attorney William Barr informed Congress that he would be reviewing the origins of the Russia investigation and the spying that was conducted against the Trump campaign, resulting in the appointment of a special counsel, Robert Mueller, which has lasted nearly 2 years and costed American taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. Late May of 2019, Democrat politicians, with the help of the liberal media, were already attempting to discredit the investigation into the original investigators, calling it a cover-up and accusing Trump of, in quote, weaponizing the Department of Justice. June 10, 2019. Assistant Attorney General Stephen Boyd responded to a request for an update by Democrat Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, informing him that it had been, in quote, well established that the U.S. government and others undertook intelligence gathering and investigative steps aimed at persons associated with the Trump campaign. In that same letter, embedded below, Congress was informed that the review was, in quote, broad in scope and multifaceted, and is intended to illuminate open questions regarding the activities of the U.S. and foreign intelligence services. And you can check out those papers. I will leave the link in the description box below. June 12, 2019. U.S. Attorney John Durham, who was tapped by Attorney General Barr to head the investigation, reportedly began setting up the interviews with certain CA agents. July 12, 2019. The deep state holdovers started getting nervous about the scope of the Barr-Durham investigation, described by Natasha Bretland over at the left-leaning Politico, who appears to be sympathetic to the deep state officials, peppering her piece with claims that the Durham investigation, in quote, has alarmed some in the national security community and has unnerved intelligence veterans across the political spectrum. August of 2019. President Trump spoke to the newly elected Ukrainian president and asked for a favor, which was to cooperate with the Barr-Durham investigation into the origins directly referencing CrowdStrike and, in quote, the server. CrowdStrike was an anti-Russian third-party group that determined that Russia had hacked the DNC servers, the only evidence that Russia was behind the hack, and the only evidence that U.S. intelligence agencies used to make their own determination that Russia was behind it. This is unclassified. The president, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say CrowdStrike, ... I guess you have one of your wealthy people, the server. They say Ukraine has it. There are a lot of things that went on. The whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the people of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you or your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you saw yesterday, the whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller, an incompetent performance. But they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it's very important that you do it if that's possible. August 28th, 2019. Adam Schiff tweeted out, in quote, Trump is withholding vital military aid to Ukraine while his personal lawyers seek help from the Ukrainian government to investigate his political opponent. It doesn't take a stable genius to see the magnitude of this conflict or how destructive it is in our national security. September 14th, 2019. The DOJ, the IG informs Congress that the FISA abuse investigation is complete and that the factual findings were given to AG Barr for purposes of classification before the Inspector General finalizes and releases the final report. Late September of 2019, the establishment media went to town on the Ukraine call and the whistleblower complaint. As you can see here from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CBS News, CNN.com, CNBC.com. September 24th, 2019, Nancy Pelosi announces impeachment inquiry over the Ukraine call. Related, the IG could not explain 18 days of the window between Ukraine call and the whistleblower complaint. Bottom line, the picture that emerges from the timeline. With the CA already concerned over the direction of the Barr-Durham investigation was heading, a CA analyst that was embedded in the White House but has since gone back to the CA, contacted Democrat Congressman Adam Schiff to leak the details of what he had been told the Ukraine call consisted of, claiming the favor Trump asked of the Ukrainian president was information on Joe Biden and his son's dealing in the Ukraine while Biden was vice president. As seen from the transcript screenshot above, the favor was about the investigation, and the Bidens were not mentioned until later in the call. Barr and Durham have also accepted help from Australian, Italian, and UK's intelligence in their investigation into the origins of the Russian probe, all of which are believed to have been involved in helping the Obama administration spy on President Trump's campaign back in 2016. Schiff or his staff are the ones that sent the leaker to the Intel Attorney General as a whistleblower, encouraging them to file a complaint, which Schiff has now admitted to. Knowing that the IG report, which is expected to detail any wrongdoing of the part of U.S. intelligence agencies in obtaining a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign in 2016, is expected to drop within the next 2 weeks, along with the details showing that Barr and Durham are already at a point in their own investigation into potential illegal activities in order to create the entire Russia investigation, where they are already talking with foreign intelligence agencies regarding the part they played, has quite literally sent Democrat politicians and the establishment media into panic mode. If Congressman John Ratcliffe is correct in the interview shown below when he says we will get, in quote, a definitive answer from the Inspector General when this report gets issued in the next week or two, then the rush in the House from the left on impeachment occurred. It could be considered a direct result of their fear over what America is going to find out. His key quote towards the end of the interview is said here. But the other point and quote that you have been talking about, Maria, and are going to talk about, I mean, why is it okay for the Obama administration to send people to the FBI agents to Rome and to coordinate with Australia and Great Britain about foreign interferences in our election? But when the Trump administration and Department of Justice and Bill Barr go to the exact same places to determine the exact same type of things, foreign interference in our election, it's all of a sudden political, and that we shouldn't be doing it? And I will tell you what I think the answer is, because I think there are a lot of folks that are worried about finding out who really interfered more or tried to interfere more in the 2016 election, the Russians or the Obama administration. The entire transcript can be seen here. Hold on to your hat, folks, because it, in quotes, is about to hit the fan. Once the IG report is issued, Democrats in the media that have already been acting nuts are going to go completely lose their minds when the truth can no longer be hidden from the American people. My friends, this is go time. This is when it does hit the fan. They are panicking. Expect, you know what, FFs. See something, say something. They will try and bleed it in to the mainstream media because they do not want people to realize what the enemy has done. They do not want the American people who are still asleep to realize that they have been shafted, my friends. These people are going to have their entire worlds turned on their side, and we are here to help them cope with it. And we are here to expose the evil and corruption and make sense of it all. My friends, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. don't forget to leave a like. You can donate to this channel by going to my PayPal, my Patreon. I have a P.O. box and also True Reporting merch. Don't forget, tonight from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be a live call-in show. We have so much to talk about, and I think it will be a great show. It's been doing very well, and people seem to really be enjoying it. I will talk to you all very soon, my friends. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.